Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the Transformers. On this episode, we get back to Transformers EarthSpark with a review of an episode featuring a familiar spider bot. Today is Friday, August 18th, 2023, and this is episode 351 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that warns our kids to never talk to strange spiders. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Scott, the illustrious Dr. Pants.
I would be worried if my kids were talking to spiders at all. That seems weird. Hello, everyone. Let's talk Transformers.
You can talk to spiders. It's when they start talking back that it might be weird. I don't know.
Wasn't there a book about that? Something with that and a pig?
I'll do.
We're mixing our metaphors here. Not the same pig. Anyway, as always, we start off the show by thanking our Donatreons. Those lovely people who support us on Patreon and PayPal. We really appreciate that. Thank you all so much for helping us get to 10 years of the Transmissions Podcast Network. We're still going strong. Transmissions Alt Mode is not 10 years old yet, but we're coming up on the end of our 6th year. I think we're going into 7th year of Transmissions Alt Mode later in the year.
I believe that's how the math works. You're the engineer.
So we are, we're still going strong. We're enjoying doing this, and it's because of you that we can keep doing this every week. We can keep paying our hosting fees, keep paying to get the show online, and it's because of your contributions that helps us out. So thank you to everyone who donates. If you are not a Donatron and would like to become one, you can go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And that's where you can sign up. You get bonus content. You get access to watching the show live every week. If you want to watch us recorded live, you get automatically entered into all our contests. You get some merchandise, lots of good stuff. So lots of perks to being a Donatron, and we really appreciate you. Speaking of bonus content.
This is the end of your 7th year. You're going into year 8 as of December 1st.
Ah, okay.
Thank you.
Yes. I said I've had the same problem, so I've got the math figured out. I just have to take the time.
We really appreciate that. You saved us from a colossal blunder. So thank you. All right. Well, for more of Dr. Pants, you can check out our bonus show, We Like Big Bots, that features Dr. Pants and Daryl talking about all the big bots they've purchased over the years. They go through a different character on every episode. They've done combiners. They've done really big, giant guys. I believe they've done Unicron once. We
did do Unicron.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah.
The biggest bot of all.
Yes. I think we may have blown our load a little too early on that one.
But yeah, there's still a galaxy of big bots to check out. So stay tuned for more episodes of We Like Big Bots in the future. We've got 10 episodes already up on our Patreon page. You can watch whenever you want. And very soon, Daryl and Dr. Pants will be getting back to recording some more. So we'll have more coming this fall.
We've been in talks. We already have a couple of characters we're already working on.
Awesome. Also, check out our Transformers Live Play RPG podcast, Empire of Rust, this week on our regular main feed at transmissionspodcast.com/rust. We've got the next episode 107, Star Bat Will Fall Flat. So this is starting the big battle between the party and Starscream. And that will continue into the next episode 108, that will be coming in 2 weeks. But if you are a Donatreon, you can get early access to a bonus version of that episode this coming Monday. So this Monday, August 21st, you will be able to get that on our Patreon page. You can get access to the bonus early uncut version of episode 108. And then the following week will be the regular, fully edited and finalized version on our free feed. So good stuff coming with Empire of Rust. So check it out. It's a awesome RPG podcast. Really, Mike has put a lot of work into designing and developing this RPG system for Transformers, and his friends go through it and do a great job playing out these scenarios. So check it out.
And I just want to say that, like, I don't think it gets stated enough how much production goes into this with the sound effects, the music, the different
Yeah.
voices and whatnot. It's a very interesting listen. If you have not started, I highly recommend it.
Awesome. Yep. And lastly, we've got our ToyHax code for the month of August. And so you can use this code to get 15% off all your purchases at toyhax.com. So you can use that code TFMP08. Again, that code is TFMP08. And you can use that at toyhax.com to get 15% off every order you make there. You cannot combine it with any other promo codes, but you can use it with your Robo Points and any gift certificates you might have. So definitely check that out at our friends at toyhax.com and take advantage of that discount. Okay, so let's jump in to our show with a review. So we are finally getting back after a long hiatus, getting back into reviewing episodes of Transformers EarthSpark. They have already, Paramount Plus has already put out all 26 episodes of the show now, so you can watch the entire first season. We got through 12 episodes before we went on hiatus for reviewing stuff. So we're going to start off with episode 13, Missed Connection. And this was a good one to jump into because we were surprised to see a familiar character coming back, Tarantulas. So Tarantulas featured heavily in this episode, and was a very interesting take on Tarantulas, a much more sympathetic version of Tarantulas than we've had in previous media. So this was a very interesting episode. This episode was written by our one of the people we've had on the show before, May Cat. They wrote some episodes of Transformers, the War for Cybertron, the third, what was it? What was the third? Kingdom. Yes. They wrote a few episodes of Kingdom, and it was cool to see them back for Transformers EarthSpark. So it was written by May Cat, directed by Matthew Humphries, featuring Tarantulas, and the voice of Tarantulas was Alfie Allen. And if you do not know that name, do you know the name Theon Greyjoy? So he was the actor who played Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. Okay, and not don't have any Game of Thrones heads here, but but yeah. So if you watch Game of Thrones, you will know who Theon Greyjoy is. Who's a significant character there. So it was interesting. It was interesting to see him being the voice of Tarantulas in this episode. So let's talk about the episode. I'll give a quick summary, and then we can talk about our thoughts on it. So this was a very Nightshade focused episode. So I think the last couple of episodes, one focused on the other new siblings. So we have Jawbreaker and Hashtag. So they each had their own kind of focus episodes, and now this episode was a focus for Nightshade. So they and it showed a little bit of their personality. All the other it starts off with all the other bots and humans are enjoying the day off because there's no school, so they're all playing together. But Nightshade is in their workshop just working on stuff. they're making a one of those a drone for both attack and defense to do some crazy stuff, and they're happy just doing stuff on their own. So the rest of the family is like, hey, Nightshade, come out and play with us. You don't have to be cooped up all alone. You don't have to feel like you don't have to do anything. And but Nightshade's like, no, I'm fine. I'm happy doing doing what I'm doing here. I don't need to go out and be outside. I'm fine just being here. And I can identify with that, being an introvert growing up, being really focused on computers and video games, and not really always wanting to be running, jumping, playing outside. So I understand the impulse to hey, I'm just happy hanging out inside and doing stuff. So Nightshade is doing that, and then but the parents are, the Malto parents are a little bit concerned. Just they want to make sure they're happy and everything. So, but the dad gives Nightshade a book and says, "Hey, this it might be you might have difficulty connecting with other people, but maybe you're interested in like fantasy novels and are interested in seeing taking a look at this book." So he gives Nightshade this book, Winged Sentinel by D.E. O'Neill, which it's Batman by Denny O'Neill. I actually did not realize that. I read the summary on the TF wiki, and they made it explicit that this is the reference to that, which makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, as soon as I saw D.E. O'Neill, I realized I knew that. I didn't pick up on the Batman part until later, but the Denny O'Neill I got right away.
Yeah. So good job, Jeremy, because I did not pick up on that.
I'm more of a DC guy.
But yeah, so and Nightshade is, after reading that novel, gets really into it, is very excited about and wants to actually meet D.E. O'Neill and talk to him directly about the book he wrote. So Nightshade goes to hashtag and says, hashtag, can you're the internet expert, so can you help me find the current location of D.E. O'Neill? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'll search everything. And oh yeah, the current location is the cemetery. And I guess since these guys are not really familiar with death, they don't know that, yeah, if he's located in the cemetery, that means he's not alive anymore. But this is a nuance that's kind of lost on them, being newly born protoforms. So Nightshade says, okay, I'm going to go catch up to D.E. O'Neill in the cemetery. Nightshade gets there, finds the grave site, and is like, oh, okay, I guess can't really talk to him. But as he's looking at the grave, a person comes up and says, hey, you can't be here. You what are you doing here? And you're like, oh no, is Nightshade going to get caught by a human? Well, no, because it's actually a hologram. And the hologram kind of fails, and then it reveals it's just a little remote drone. So Nightshade follows it into a crypt, and there's spider webs all around. And he's looking at it, and a giant spider comes down behind him, and it's Tarantulas. Although it's not the super evil Tarantulas that we would expect. If you look at Beast Wars, Tarantulas was a pretty bad guy. But this Tarantulas is a little bit less, a little bit more sympathetic. Tarantula sees that Nightshade is a protoform. So Tarantula's like, okay, get out of here, go find your own space. I'm not really, I'm not going to do anything to you, but I'm not really, I don't want to hang out with you. So, but Nightshade is just amazed by all this technology, and Tarantulas is intrigued by this young protoform, and they develop a bond, and then Nightshade realizes that, and so Tarantulas tells Nightshade that that Tarantulas is developing this hologram projector because he wants to integrate into human society. He wants to disappear and not be hunted by ghosts, and always be looking over his shoulder. So if he can perfect this holographic emitter, he can then use that as a way to basically project his human avatar into human society, and then just do his own thing, and no longer have to worry about being hunted. But also he's not trying to cause trouble or take over the world or anything. He just wants to be a normal guy and, live in peace, which that's fine. I didn't expect that from Tarantulas, but it's cool. So Nightshade is very, just they're very excited about the technology and volunteers to help Tarantulas perfect this device. So they do a montage. They do all the stuff to, you've got all the collaboration. They're very excited to work together. Tarantulas is excited to have this protoform studying with him, and he feels like, I think it becomes like a mentor mentee relationship. And Nightshade, of course, is excited to make a new friend. They do all this stuff and they perfect this hollow emitter. So Tarantulas has got the thing he needs. Tarantulas, of course, at the end is excited. He invites Nightshade to continue like working with him and basically you know form a bond and go off on adventures together. But Nightshade says, no, I can't leave here. I've got a home here. So Nightshade says goodbye to Tarantulas and says, hope for the best and everything, but I'm staying here. But Tarantulas doesn't really give up on that. He follows Nightshade back to the Malto house. He sees the Malto parents talking about Nightshade, and of course, it's one of those Three's Company sitcom situations where he hears a snippet of conversation and then gets the wrong idea. So then he immediately thinks that the Malto humans are plotting to do something bad to Nightshade. So he kidnaps them and runs off. And of course, the rest of the family is very upset about this because they kidnapped their Tarantulas kidnapped their parents. Nightshade realizes that they're the one who has to get them back because they're the only one who knows where Tarantulas is. So they go off alone to rescue the parents. They confront Tarantulas and they say, no, you've got it all wrong. These are my parents. Or, well, they don't say that. Actually, I think if they did say that, they could have solved this without the battle, but they don't get a chance to really talk it out. And so Nightshade, in the midst of trying to save the Malto parents and having a battle, actually, in the middle of this, they see the symbol, the winged sentinel symbol on D.E. O'Neill's grave, which is the symbol of an owl. And Nightshade uses this to decide finally what their alt mode is, and they turn into a robotic owl. So after becoming that alt mode, they use their new powers to fight Tarantulas and eventually subdue him and rescue the Maltos. So after the battle is over, Tarantulas realizes that the Maltos are not there to, are not, there to. He accuses them of being ghost agents, which she actually is a ghost agent, but she's still keeping the protoforms in hiding anyway. But she is not there to arrest Tarantulas or capture Tarantulas. So uh, Tarantulas realizes they're actually a family and they're actually not working directly with Ghost and Nightshade says, yeah, Tarantulas deserves a second chance. And they give him the second chance. And Tarantula says, I'll use my second chance to provide cover for you guys to escape. So the Maltos can all escape without getting detected by Ghost. And he draws them away. And that's the end of the episode. So yeah, I mean, very interesting. We get to see Nightshade finally picking their alt mode. We see, and I also like the discussion. Tarantulas has a discussion with Nightshade because Tarantulas is like, why don't you have an alt mode? And Nightshade's like, I don't need an alt mode. I don't have to. I don't need to. I don't need an alt mode to be complete. And Tarantula's like, well, no, the alt mode is not about being something you're missing. It's something that is a further expression of who you are. So, it's not something that should be something you need to reject. So I thought it was interesting how Nightshade got a different perspective on what an alt mode is there for. So I thought that was interesting. Um, and I thought it was a really good episode. Really interesting to turn Tarantulas into a kind of a misunderstood, sympathetic character, and giving the focus on Nightshade and delving into their character. I thought was really fun. So overall, I thought it was a really good episode. Dr. Pants, since you've had a less interaction with EarthSpark, so what did you think of this episode?
So I just want to go in and say that, like, going into watching this episode, I'd only seen the first 2 or 3, whatever the intro to EarthSpark was, plus I think like one past that. I hadn't watched much because it was all right. I didn't dislike it, but it didn't hook me. This episode, this makes me want to go back and watch the rest because this was such a good episode. I loved how everything was handled. I love that discussion about alt modes that Tarantulas has with Nightshade, saying that it's an extension of who you are. It doesn't define you. It's just furthering, who you are. And it was really nice. Plus, I love Tarantulas as a character. I I love that evil mad scientist thing. I think it's so much fun in Beast Wars. It was terrifying in, was it Sins of the Wreckers? Is that where
Yeah.
we had him? Like it was terrifying, but I love it. And seeing him in that transmetal version, all like design, but being just a character who's like, it's been 4 million years. You say the war is over, but I don't know how many times I've said it I thought that during the war. It doesn't ever end. I just want to stop. And I think that's an interesting, we've seen that in the comics in Transformers where they're just like, I don't want to fight anymore. And it's nice with Tarantulas, and he's kind of using that science to be like, I just want to disappear. And
Mhm.
it makes him relatable. It's like he's been through so much stuff. He just wants to live a normal life and he's doing what he can. And like, I never thought Tarantulas was going to be a relatable character.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
would have thought that would happen. And it did. The voice work was excellent. I really enjoyed Nightshade. I love their whole character because they're kind of the mad scientist, but in the fun way, kind of like a wheeljacky mad scientist thing going on.
Yeah.
And I related to them in the beginning where they were just tinkering around in their little lab while the others are outside playing, and everybody thinks that like, oh, something's wrong. They don't want to come out and play. Like, come on and join us. You don't have to be cooped up. And like, I felt that. And
Mhm.
it's funny because I think we as like a fandom sometimes feel that where um we don't always like are into everything that everyone else is, but then we're presented with this piece of media like the dad gives Nightshade the book and it's like, I want to talk to other people about this book. And that's what this
Yeah.
is. That's what Transmissions is talking about that kind of thing.
It's literally the origins of transmission.
Yes, literally. There you go. Episode 13 of EarthSpark is the origins of transmission with just as many robots. What else? I really want to see the origins of those other protoform, the young Autobots. I enjoyed all of them on screen. I like that hashtag kind of has an ability, like
Mhm.
in G1. Like it's different, but it's nice to see someone having a unique ability and exploiting it, and it's kind of cool. I like all the designs. My favorite thing, and I'm just going to go down that I am not a Bumblebee lover. In fact, I am so upset that he's in everything. And when he shows up and he immediately points a gun at Tarantulas, and it's like, Tarantulas, my least favorite spider bot. Like it's such an 80s cartoon thing to say, and it's just an Autobot Decepticon thing. And I'm thinking, Bumblebee, he's a good guy. He's just a little misunderstood. Don't do this. And it made me like, oh, good. I have a reason to not like Bumblebee because he's kind of a dick. Um, despite the fact that I love Danny Pudi and I love his work, so him being Bumblebee leaves me torn. But
But the
I,
response to the like Nightshade's response
yeah,
to save Tarantulas was really good.
it
Yeah.
was, yeah.
I mean, because Bumblebee didn't have anything other than his previous experiences with tarantulas.
Which is also kind of nice that, like, I completely understand where Bumblebee's coming from. 4 million years of war. He's a Decepticon. You've got your prejudice, but Nightshade pops up and is like, no, 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 hold on. And like, calms him down a bit. And
Mhm.
it was just really well done. It was well written. Um, it's nice to see something like that in a cartoon that's like, it's kiddie, but there's a nice little like subtext of everything going on, and like some nice adult messages and whatnot going on. I
Yeah.
like it a lot. And
Mhm.
I really want to see Tarantulas come back, and EarthSpark had better give us a new Tarantulas toy. I want that like robotic spider design. That was so cool. I loved it. I love the way his mouth moved. It wasn't just all of them at once. It was kind of
Mhm.
like a cascading thing, and I loved it. Loved it. Loved it.
And the way his when in robot mode, the way his spider legs were like he's using them to manipulate. It was like Doctor Octopus from
I
Spider-Man 2.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, he's doing the Doc Ock thing where he's walking on his spider legs as the backpack
Yeah.
and like freeing up his normal hands and everything. But
Yeah,
yeah,
super cool.
really, really cool.
All right, Jeremy, what did you think?
I really enjoyed this as well. And well, yeah, it's been a while since I've watched EarthSpark episodes, and I just I always forget how much I enjoy them. I get busy and have to stop. But when I first started seeing this and I saw the book and the Denny O'Neil reference, I knew that I was in for something good because that's like such a deep cut since he is the one credited with naming Optimus Prime.
Mhm.
And that's, and Denny O'Neil just, in his own right with all the Batman stuff, he's a legend. And, you know, that's like a deep cut that, they could have picked anything. Um, but starting from there and then like just, I didn't, I think actually the last episode I watched was the one where the new protoforms came back. I think I missed the review of the episodes in between.
Mhm.
And I also enjoyed seeing like all the different new bots and like hashtag like with having to use the special ability, you get the 90s modem sound, and
Oh yeah, yeah, that
that
was
was
cool.
that was great. It wasn't as obnoxiously overused as many popular media when they do that. They play it real loud and screechy and stuff, and this was more like softer, and it wasn't the full thing, so it wasn't really annoying.
It was a gentle touch.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I loved how like I was expecting the entire time for Tarantulas to do something to double cross. And yeah, I think all of us with experience from Beast Wars and from the comics just we're expecting Tarantulas to be naturally evil, and he's just like a spider playing with his food, and just to have Tarantulas be just so genuine was very refreshing. I really
Yeah.
appreciated that, and especially when Dot, like when hashtag is talking to Dot about just a generic Decepticon what if question, and Dot's like, Decepticons aren't naturally either good or evil. It's their personality and like what they do. But and she asks, or and they ask about Megatron, and Dot's like, it's what you do with your second chances, and Megatron has proven with his second chance that he is wanting to right his wrongs and stuff. Some Decepticons don't use their second chance so wisely, and I like that explanation, and then the payoff at the end where you see um, that Tarantulas is genuine and he's using his second chance to save the rest of the family because he recognizes that, oh, these humans are helping hide these protoforms from Ghost and these new bots. And so I don't know, it was very well written. The coming around the payoffs in the end, and I just immediately like didn't realize at first till I was going into the next episode. and
The episode
and
does kind of cut off real quick, though.
it does, but Paramount Plus will immediately start playing the next episode, and I knew if I continued with that, I would get confused talking about this because I always get the episodes mixed up in my head. So I'm gonna have to remember to come back to that. But this one was just so good. The voice acting was just top notch, like everyone said. It was perfect, and the 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 decisions made with the Tarantula's voice, I wouldn't have thought that that would work, but that was such a good version of Tarantula.
It it
It's very
was.
distinct from Beast Wars, but still you can tell,
Yeah.
the intelligence and everything behind the voice.
It was not a mad scientist. It was
Right.
just a scientist. And I want to touch on something you said, Jeremy, because it made me think a bit more that, like, Tarantulas is the one who says, well, an alt mode is an extension of who you are. And normally we look at Tarantulas as a spider playing with his food and being
Right.
like this predator and whatnot. But instead, this Tarantulas kind of goes for, like, it actually plays into the story where spiders tend to be really misunderstood. They're usually very helpful, but they're seen as being like an issue, being as like an aggressor and whatnot. And I think that kind of fits in then with this
Yeah.
whole backstory, because Tarantulas was just trying to help Nightshade, but it got misunderstood as an aggressive move. And it's like, no, I just want to help.
Mhm.
So, and he just wants to hide out and like live his life like most spiders do. They don't want us going around with newspapers and beating them down.
or
So,
cats.
or cats. Yes. Hello.
as,
Hello, Kitty.
as one just jumps up on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, this episode was great. And one thing that I did kind of enjoy was when Nightshade and Tarantulas were working together. We did kind of get a little 80s style montage
Yeah.
of them
Mhm.
building, and they played some generic rock music. And
It was the
you got to
perfect.
appreciate that.
Perfect.
So yeah, this was a fun episode. Um, I'm looking forward to getting back into EarthSpark.
Yep. All right. Well, that's our review of episode 13 of Transformers EarthSpark. So that was Missed Connection. And yeah, hopefully we'll see more of Tarantulas later in the season or in the following season. I don't know.
I hope so. I really do.
All right. So I think this is it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. So we're just doing the review for this week, and hopefully there'll be some more Transformers media and comics news next week. We'll see. No promises, but thank you everyone for checking us out. Dr. Pants, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you and your stuff online?
Thank you once again for having me, and thank you for making me sit down and watch EarthSpark. So now that I can go back and binge the whole series and really want to. But you can find me and my friends. We are Nerdstradamus, and if you're watching this on YouTube, which you can actually notice that I've put the link to Nerdstradamus up here, so you can find us. That's our YouTube, our Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever it is, TikTok, Instagram. We are everywhere, but we're mostly on YouTube doing videos, and we've been kind of posting more TikToks and stuff up there. So you can come check us out. We're just doing fun, nerdy things, games, robots, music, all kinds of stuff. So please come check us out.
All right. And for everyone else, of course, at the end of every episode, we give a shout out to our masterpiece donatrons. Those are the folks who continue to support us at our highest level on Patreon. So we really appreciate that. That's why we thank them in every episode. So again, thank you to John 4X11 Good and Demon Tech 82. And last in the regular episode this week, we had John 4X11 Good watching. Now in alt mode, we have Demon Tech 82 watching live. So thank you, Demon Tech. We get to thank you live in person. We really appreciate your support and saw your comments. So it looks like you were watching the episode as well. And yeah, like Jeremy, you were waiting for that other shoe to drop for Tarantulas to turn evil, and you never did. So that was a good surprise for this episode. But yeah, thank you again for joining us and for your continued support. So we really appreciate it. And that'll do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thank you, everyone else, for watching and listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Transmissions. If you'd like to join the conversation, travel to our Discord channel at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. Want some cool transmission swag? Feast your eyes on our transmissions gear at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. If you'd like to support our podcast, go to transmissionspodcast.com/support or tell your friends about our show. We'll see you next time.